Judge Lisa Glickfield, thank you for coming on the show. Welcome to the BallotCast.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we're really excited to have you and to get into this conversation about your life, about your passion for justice and also community service, and then the future of your role as Circuit Court 3 judge. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And you're running for re-election, so you've had the job for a while. Tell me when you were first elected.
Yeah, I was elected in 2020, so I took the bench January 1st of 2021. So
Okay.
I'm going into my 6th year right now.
Okay. And you're equally as invigorated for term 2, yes?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I've accomplished some of the things I wanted to do, and I've got a few more that I want to accomplish, and so I'm ready to go.
Good. Well, we're going to get into all of those things. First, let's start it off with your background, your personal background. How did you come to be Judge Glickfield?
Okay.
Tell me the story.
Yeah, so I actually always wanted to be an attorney.
Okay.
I grew up in a family of attorneys. I think last count, there were 9 of us in my family.
Wow.
That have been attorneys. And so my father was an attorney, and he was pretty much a criminal defense attorney. And I just saw the way he helped people. And he was one of those 24/7 on-call attorneys.
Yeah.
People would call in the middle of the night. They would call anytime, and he would always take their phone calls. And I just admired him when we would be out. We'd be at dinner, and someone would come up and say, "Hey, Dave, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You helped me so much." And it just stuck with me. And so when I started looking at college, my dad was always, and my mother the same way, they were always like, you've always said you want to be a lawyer, but, just in case you change your mind, you have to have a degree to fall back on.
Okay.
So with that, I went to school at Indiana University,
Okay.
and I went for accounting, school of business at IU.
Got it.
And I got a Bachelor of Science in accounting.
Were you very excited about that? Not an accountant.
Every minute of it, but I finished.
Okay.
And so with that, I did come out and I started working regulatory accounting for a bank.
Okay. Equally as thrilling, would you say?
Horrible. Equally as thrilling. And I did that for a little while, and then actually I ended up taking a job in Texas.
Wow.
For a private tax firm, changing it up from regulatory accounting in a bank to just doing public accounting, everyday tax returns.
How'd you end up in Texas?
I was just looking for a job, and I wanted to get away.
Ready for big.
And I was like, I'd been home in Indiana my whole life.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, we're going to do something big. So I took this job in Texas and doing tax returns. And in my first year, doing about 300 tax returns of noting the depreciation between steers and longhorns and heifers.
Okay.
That was enough for me. So
you had your fill of that. Enough Texas for you.
Yeah, so I put in an application to the closest law school and got it.
Okay, to here in Indiana.
No, actually I got it
in Texas.
In Texas. I went to, at the time it was Indiana Wesleyan University, Texas Wesleyan University in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Okay.
I literally stepped in that law school, and it was a smaller law school.
That was it for accounting.
That was it.
Never
accounting was never, but I'll tell you what, that tax class in law school was the easiest class I had in law school.
Well, look at that. Look at that. It did help you.
Yeah. I breezed through that class.
Okay. So what are some parts of your life, you've had a history of a family of attorneys, public servants. What are some experiences or parts of your life that have shaped your perspective of being a judge, or how you serve as a judge?
Well, when I came out of law school as a new attorney, I initially was going to go into my father's practice and my two brothers. My two brothers are attorneys. My father was an attorney up in northern Indiana. So my original goal was to go and practice up in northern Indiana. But my brothers kind of were a little more, hey, this is my little sister. And it was more of a, you do this, you do that. And they weren't really treating me as an equal. So I actually ended up down here in southern Indiana and started my family down here. But in looking for a job down here, I was offered a job with actually the Clark County Prosecutor's Office and then a private law firm. And they were pretty equal, but the Clark County Prosecutor's Office, Steve Stewart at the time, great prosecutor, it was an asset to have him in Clark County. But he wanted a 2-year commitment, and I didn't think I could give that to him, and I did not want to make that commitment unless I knew I could follow through. Yeah. So I took the job with the private law firm. And in doing that, I was going to bring criminal law to the firm, but it was primarily a family law firm. Okay. So I actually started out doing some family law, but that took a minute. Yeah. And I was like, no, I don't want to do this. So a public defender spot came open in Floyd County. Okay. And one of the Floyd County attorneys, actually now Judge Hancock over in Floyd County Circuit 2, offered to mentor me for the public defender spot in Floyd County. And so in 2003, I became a Floyd County public defender. Okay. And I stayed there until 2014. Wow. And so that public defense
long tenure there.
Oh, yeah, long tenure in Floyd County as a public defender. And I loved it.
Tell me more about that.
Well, you know, when you're a public defender, you certainly don't do public defense work for the money. It's in that job, you really do get a good sense of trying to help people. Yeah. That population is the less fortunate. People are on hard times. A lot of mental health issues, a lot of substance abuse issues, a lot of family issues. And so you see a real need to help people, a lot of the lesser educated. So you just kind of want to get in and help them. Yeah. And so that's kind of what led me into wanting to actually do more for that population. Yeah. And I thought in running for judge, that would give me more of an opportunity to find more resources, more programs to actually help them at a higher level.
Yeah, that's true. And then especially as a judge, you have a different capacity to sort of guide them into help instead of different from a public defender. Is that right? Would you say that's accurate?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. As a public defender, I could recommend things to people, and you know, they may or may not do it. But with the judge being up there on the bench and saying, hey, I'm ordering you to do this program. Yeah. There's a little bit more weight behind that. They call it the robe effect. Okay. So people are more apt to do things when they're ordered to do it.
Makes sense.
And, you know, the evidence shows that just starting something, if you just put your foot in the door and do it, that, you know, you'll be more successful if you just start. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that's very true. So lifelong involvement in this after the accounting stint.
Yeah.
So it seems like throughout all of this, you've had a singular passion, but you have been around the block as far as several different aspects of the job. Is that right?
What do you mean?
So you know, you did accounting, and you did the private, and you did the family law, and then you were public defender. So you have extensive experience over time, even as you were committed to this.
Oh, absolutely. I will say that my family law experience was very tiny part. My criminal background, and especially the docket that Circuit Court 3 has, I have done that primarily since I became attorney in 2003.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is my extensive experience.
Understood. Okay, so tell me more about what that means. So what comes on the docket in Circuit Court 3?
So I do all of the operating while intoxicated charges, which is from the first time up into operating while intoxicated causing death. And there's a wide range in there. So you're talking about a C misdemeanor, which carries no jail up to 60 days in jail, up to a level 4 felony, which could carry up to 12 years of incarceration.
Wow.
So yeah, it runs the gambit. And then additionally, I do any level 6 felony that would come before the court, except for drug-related. If it's primarily drug-related, that goes to Circuit 2. Okay. And then if there is a misdemeanor charge, but they already have a level 6 felony or higher, in my court, then that also comes to me.
Okay. Okay. For those who might not have a in-depth grasp on our very complicated court system and how the law works systematically, can you explain essentially how the circuit courts operate, how they work, and then also the degrees of felonies as you were talking about?
Yeah, sure. In Clark County, we have 6 circuit courts, and each of us have our own specialized dockets.
Okay.
So, for example, I am primarily criminal. Circuit 2 is primarily criminal, but Circuit 2 does all of the drug offenses. So
Okay.
that's Judge Jacobs.
So it's differentiated by subject of the.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Subject matter. Circuit 1 and Circuit 4 both split a civil docket and partially criminal.
Okay.
They do the higher level criminals, so anything level 5 and above. So it goes level 5, level 4, level 3, 2, 1, and then murder. So those are the higher levels. And then we also have Circuit Court 5, which is also primarily criminal, but it also has a divorce docket
Okay.
as well. And then Circuit 6 is pretty much all civil with some child support and things like that.
So it's not totally exclusive. It is spread out a little bit. Okay.
It is.
Okay. So it's
Absolutely.
not totally you. Okay.
And I will say that in the state of Indiana, Circuit Court 3 has the highest number of level 6 felonies filed in the state in a court.
Wow. So here in Clark County is the largest or the most in the state.
Yes, the highest number of level 6 felonies, or the most level 6 felonies, are filed in Circuit Court 3 than any other single court in the state of Indiana.
Okay. What are they usually? What are those level 6 felonies?
You're talking about domestic batteries with bodily injury or a second domestic battery. You're talking about thefts with a prior.
Okay.
You're talking about operating while intoxicated with a prior, resisting law enforcement with a vehicle, different things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have any insider observation into why the particularly larger number might occur? Or
Well, I
any
think
thoughts
it's
on that?
when you get in the bigger counties,
Okay.
they have more courts.
Okay.
So
it's like it's a proportional thing.
Obviously, we'll
yeah.
have a lot more level 6 felonies filed,
But
they are spread out amongst many other courts.
Yeah.
So Clark County we are the 14th largest county in the state. So with the number of courts we have, for that one court to have that many level 6 felonies, though, that's pretty impressive. Circuit 2 has a lot of level 6 felonies because they have all the drug offenses.
Yeah.
So for us to have the highest number, with also Circuit 2 having a good number of level 6s, and 1 and 4 will also have level 6 felonies, but they'll also have attached to them level 5 felonies or higher.
Okay.
It's still a pretty high number.
And how is it decided how many courts a county has?
It's based on the caseload, the number of cases that are filed each year.
Okay.
And it's actually a really complicated formula.
I believe it.
So, and that it also depends on the number of cases that are filed, the number of judicial officers you have.
All right.
And right now, based on the last study, we are exactly right where we need to be.
Okay. Would you say in your daily experience that's accurate?
Yeah, I would say so. In Circuit 3, we are the busiest court. We average over 100 cases a day.
Wow.
Which is about 4 times that of the other courts.
Okay.
But each type of case has what they call a wait for how long it should take to get through those cases.
Right.
So some of our cases may have a lower wait, where a case like a murder would have a much higher wait, which would take more time to complete.
That makes sense. Talk to me about how, 100 cases in a day, what does each case require as far as, involvement or time? Because 100 a day, that's large. Are you personally handling each and every one of those, or how does that work?
So I'm not personally involved in each of those cases. A lot of them are informally held between the prosecutor and the defense attorneys. But each one of those cases has to have paperwork involved. And so each one of those has to physically touch my staff. An entry has to be generated. Sometimes there are orders that have to go with those. Sometimes new court dates have to be set. Sometimes dates need to be set. And so there's actually a lot of behind the scenes work that has to go on. Then additionally, there are a lot of cases that actually do come before the court. And I also have a magistrate. We have enough cases that come before us that we have to have 2 judges hear the cases.
Okay.
There's not enough time for one judge to hear everything and also then do the administrative work and then take care of all of the filings that come in.
I mean, at
review all the
100 cases a day, that's...
It's quite a bit. And then, we work primarily with we are solely the court that deals with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles because of the OWIs.
Yes.
There are driver's license implications, and that's a huge deal. And the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles is a quagmire to deal with. If anybody's ever had to deal with the Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles, it is so complicated. I need 1.5, maybe 2 employees to deal with.
So from the public side, it's difficult enough, but you're saying it's not much better on the administrative side. Okay.
It's not much better on our side. We have a little bit more expertise, but it's so complicated that I have one total dedicated employee that must deal with them, and oftentimes we have to bring in 2.
Wow. So you manage...
And then there's always 2 people that have to be in court with the 2 judges.
Okay, so you mentioned employees. So you manage a staff for the circuit court, is that right?
Yes.
All right, and you head that up.
And I head that up for both courts.
Okay.
Or I say for both courts. The 2 judges and I, we each run 2 courts. So I had the staff for both courts.
All right.
There are a total of 9 employees. And so, yes, we always have to have a court reporter in court with us. We have to have the ladies then doing all of the entries from the informal meetings, and then between the BMV, and then we have a huge mental health docket in Circuit 3. We have the largest mental health docket on the criminal side of any of the courts also in Clark County, which that's another expertise. As I said, we are the 14th largest county in the state.
Out of 92.
Out of 92 counties. But we have the 3rd largest population for incompetent individuals.
Wow.
And most of those people are in my court. So we have another individual that's actually 2 individuals that are pretty much dedicated to that as well.
Okay, I do want to come back to that, but first, tell me about the day-to-day of managing the staff of the court. What does that look like? How do you take charge of that and make it run well? How have you done that?
Well, I'll tell you, I have an amazing office manager, and I actually split it up between 2 ladies. I have 2 awesome office managers. One of them is the most organized individual I know. Her name is Katie. She keeps everything on track. If you can imagine, at some days we have 150 cases, 170 cases. We may have 85 to 120 cases set for jury trial. She has to keep everything on track, schedule-wise. She is amazing at all of that and doing all of our reporting. There's a lot of reporting we have to do to the state of Indiana on a quarterly basis. She's amazing at that. And then, as you can imagine, with our docket so large and running 2 courts, I have another co-chief reporter that is amazing with the personnel. So she reports to me any of the human resources type things. She takes care of any of the personal needs of the employees, timekeeping, if anybody's sick, if there are any, kind of disputes, anything going on like that. So I trust the 2 of them to do that, and then they report to me. And between the 3 of us, we get it all taken care of.
Wow, that's fantastic. And after, a longer term as a judge, you have 6 years, is that right?
Yes.
So you have 6 years. You have time to build that team, to perfect those systems, and make it very efficient by the time you're done with your first term.
Yeah, we are becoming. Yeah, we've become a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I have the best staff in the world. And I've brought in a community service program that has been totally revamped. And so with that, one of my co-chief court reporters also helps out with scheduling and taking the information for our community service program, and which has been phenomenal. Jeremy Snelling heads that up, and I think we've done over 80,000 to 100,000
Wow.
hours of community
Wow.
service, and he also collects restitution to make sure that the community, when they have a loss from any type of crime,
Okay.
working on getting them reimbursed.
Yeah. That is something broadly you're known for is community service involvement. Talk to me about how important that is to you, and tell me about some of the things you and your team have done.
For the community service program specifically?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, it was really important to me to come in with a community service program. The previous administration did have a community service program. It is part of the statute on OWIs. There is a sentencing structure where if you have a previous OWI conviction, you must either complete a certain number of community service or you must do jail time.
Okay.
And if you have more than one, then it increases in the community service hours and the jail time.
Okay.
Most people will choose community service that were going to jail. Kind of makes sense.
That's,
It was important to me to have everybody held accountable
yeah.
to doing that community service. And so when I brought in Mr. Snelling, he organized a program that was very accountable. We've kept very good records. When we came in,
he runs a tight ship.
he runs a very tight ship, makes everybody accountable. He reports it to their probation officer and also completes the letters of completion so everybody knows what's done. When we came in, there were no records at all. So we had no idea.
They're just winging it.
I'll tell you, I had an attorney actually call and ask when I came in if their client really had to do the community service to make sure before he signed the plea agreement, because they weren't really sure. They wanted to make sure before he signed it if he needed to tell them, well, you may or may not have to do it.
Oh man!
Told me a little bit about what was going on prior, but yes.
So it was in need of a bit of
service.
Okay, that's good. So the program was in need of a little bit of reform. Okay.
We do programs all throughout the county.
Okay.
I think we've hit almost every township. All of the different festivals you see during the summer, you can find our community service programs out parking cars, setting up tents, setting up the festivals. We typically do the Strawberry Festival. We do Autumn on the River. We do the 4-H Fair.
Okay.
We do cleanup on the different highways all throughout. We do cemeteries. We do veterans memorials. We do a lot.
Yeah. So talk about, so all of that is through the court.
Yes.
Right, and that's ordered. Talk about your personal involvement in events in the community.
Sure. One of the things, I am not a public person.
Okay.
I don't like attention. I don't do things.
I apologize for bringing you on a podcast.
No. That's quite all right. I'll just say this. My dad always said, if you have to go around and brag about what you do, you're doing it for the wrong reason. So when I do things, it's because I want to, and it's a true joy to me to help other people. I've been very fortunate in my life, and so when I have that opportunity to give back just a little bit, I like to do that. I'm busy. I have a teenage son, and with work and the caseload in Circuit 3, I am really busy. But different organizations, kids organizations I love. I recently discovered, about, 4 or 5 months ago at the Clark County, the school systems gala, I discovered Tracy Patton and the Reach Food for Kids program. And I was like, I got to be part of that. So I started volunteering for the REACH program, which is a program that provides food for children that are in need of food, and we actually deliver food directly to the children.
Wow, that's great.
It's amazing.
Okay.
It is absolutely amazing. I have for years volunteered a little bit with the Pilot Club. The judges always donate bikes to the Pilot Club, and then I've done some of their other fundraisers with them. I have a good friend that has been very active in the Pilot Club, so I like to support her. I love the organization. They do the Kids Safety Town and teach children about electrical safety, fire safety, water safety, as well as they have a bullying program.
Okay.
And then I love youth theater. I help out a lot with youth theater. If anybody looks at my Facebook page, mostly what I post on my personal page is about my son and his theater.
Okay.
So I love to help out any way I can with any of the youth theaters, whether it's his school, another school, or a private organization. Let's see, we always, try to help out the youth shelter.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's just so many. We have students that come to us with programs that we try to help out. The different school or other youth sports programs that we try to help out. The recovery community is a huge one for me. I love to give back to the recovery community because we have such an amazing recovery community here in Clark County, Indiana. And then a few of the church organizations,
Okay.
whether it be, donating clothing, helping out with, some of the kitchen work, food drives, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more. But I can't
I'm
think of
certain
any more
there
off the
is.
top of my head.
You mentioned your son. I just recently met him. Trevor, is that
Trevor,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Tell
Yeah,
me about
he's great.
tell me about being a judge and then also you being a mom. Because that's a huge part of your life. Tell us about that.
Poor Trevor. It's. I don't know if it's fair to Trevor, especially being a criminal court, as well as, always been a criminal defense attorney. The poor child has probably heard so many stories. As a parent, it's always scary.
Mm.
I always tell people, the best person can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and anything can happen. You can find yourself in a situation, and next thing you know, you're behind bars. Wrong or right, good or bad, you just never know. Or you could be in a situation even worse. And I mean, I'll just say this now. One of my best friends growing up, she lost her daughter to an overdose with a pill that she had never taken before, just got with the wrong group of people and took what she thought was a Xanax, but was fentanyl.
Wow.
And just didn't wake up. And, that's a parent's worst nightmare.
Yeah, that's hard to hear.
And so, 18 years old.
Wow.
Literally just right after her 18th birthday, just graduated high school. So, as a mother, to hear that, wasn't my child, but just to hear that from your best friend, your heart stops. Then you think about your own child. So Trevor's heard a lot of that. I don't know if I've scared him, but he's a great kid. He's responsible. He's straight A student. He maintains, that 4.0 GPA while doing theater. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
He did better on the SAT than I did.
Bright future for you.
He's just been a joy, and I couldn't be more blessed.
Yeah, that's incredible because it's as you were talking about your passion for community service and involvement and serving the recovery community, and even as you talk about being a mom and loving and caring for your son, even as you're a judge, it can very frequently be considered that the role of a judge is a harsh one, is an unfeeling one, is an uncaring one, the iron fist of the law. But to see you have the sense of justice to fulfill that role well, and then also have the heart for the people who are impacted, and then also have the, caring mother's heart for your son is a inspiring thing to see, for sure. Let me just ask to go into further detail about your involvement with or heart for the recovery community.
Sure.
You mentioned a higher caseload in your court regarding those sorts of things. What is your perspective and what do you see there?
How do you mean, with a higher caseload, or how do you?
You mentioned mental health and addiction and those things. How do you see those?
Well, they go hand in hand for the most part. When I started in 2003, we really didn't have a lot for those with substance abuse and mental health. We had Richmond State Hospital. We had a couple of state hospitals, but over time, state funding for those hospitals kind of went away. So we really had little to nothing. With time, however, we were able to gain some resources back. And so we now have a pretty robust system for substance abuse. Our community-based provider, LifeSpring, and we have Wellstone, and we have some other amazing providers in the community for substance abuse and mental health. A lot of times they're co-occurring. If you have a substance abuse problem, a lot of times that's because you are self-medicating for mental health. And a lot of times if you have a mental health issue, you are also self-medicating through the illegal substances. And so they go hand in hand. And so through our community providers, I think it's kind of blossomed into a lot of the other community providers kind of stepping up and starting to partner. And we have been able to develop a peer recovery group. Thrive is very involved, the different inpatient recovery programs. We have what we call partial hospitalization, PHP programs. We have intensive outpatient programs now, intensive outpatient treatment programs. Outpatient treatment, I mean, the list goes on. So you can step down from, inpatient down, the ladder all the way through to peer recovery. So, it's just been this amazing transformation. But we need to take that model now, and we need to, and this is what I want to do in my second term. We need to work on taking that model and transfer it into our mental health. And because we've got gaps in our mental health, and we're not coordinating as flawlessly with our mental health than we have been with our substance abuse.
So as you're talking, your office and your role actually is involved in and oversees many different aspects and organizations and systems and efforts to serve people. It's not restricted to sitting on the bench handing down orders.
Oh no, absolutely not. That's the smallest piece, actually.
In some way that might be the minority. So one of the big things you have done is called the Impact Court. Talk to me about that. What is that? How does it work? And why is it such a big deal?
Sure. So when I started campaigning in 2020, I had
that must have been a great time campaigning in 2020.
In COVID, let me tell you, that was an interesting experience. Nobody wanted to open their doors, and I get it. It was an interesting time, but I did have a few people come to me. They'd had some concerns regarding some of the things that had happened. Some loved ones regarding driving incidents where the driver was impaired, and they were concerned about the accountability of the rulings in the court. And so I just started thinking, and to me, an operating while intoxicated is just kind of a no-brainer to me. Nobody ever needs to drive after they've been drinking, or if they're on, even prescription drugs. There's no reason in the day of Ubers and taxis, whatever it may be, even designated drivers. We're in this
there's
era
still
now.
Many ways to avoid that situation.
Right. So one of the things I wanted to do, I was a big problem-solving court individual. Because
is that term interchangeable with Impact Court?
Yes, it absolutely is. Impact Court is a problem-solving court.
Got it.
They are based on evidence-based practices, which is science.
Got it.
So the data backs up the success of the treatment courts. And so my first experience with the treatment court was Judge Maria Granger started the first Veterans Treatment Court in Indiana. And I was honored because she asked me to be her public defender on that treatment court. and I actually did the first articles of incorporation. I drafted those for the Southern Indiana Veterans Treatment Court. And with that, I learned a lot about how effective these evidence-based practices can be. And so with that, I thought, I've got this community that has grave concerns about the safety on our roadways. And I paired that with the evidence-based practices and doing the research. I was like, that would be a perfect fit for Clark County. An OWI, operating while intoxicated court, to get these dangerous drivers off the road, but not only to get them off the road, because we can put them in jail, but they're going to get out of jail. And they're going to be right back on the road driving and endangering the public. But if we can get them off the road and retrain them and change them to where they're in recovery and they're no longer drinking and driving, then the community safety, that alleviates some of those community safety concerns. We get them off the road from drinking and driving. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. But they're still accountable. We still hold them accountable.
Okay,
they're not getting a free ride.
They're
not getting a free ride.
When some people hear about treatment-focused or accountability-focused court, that's focused on treatment or the goal of the problem-solving court, and you talked about science and evidence of good results. So I just want to dig into that a tiny bit more. A lot of people can have the instinct or the question, is that soft? Is that just letting them off easy? Is that a slap on the wrist? Is this like a sort of emotional appeal to when we should just be sticking them in jail? So how do you explain, or what's your insight into the practical balance of those two things?
Well, let's go back to before I became judge.
Okay.
Before I became judge, if an individual was charged with operating while intoxicated, even if they had a prior operating while intoxicated, they most likely would get that dropped down to a reckless driving. They wouldn't even get charged. They wouldn't even have to plead to an operating while intoxicated, which is a huge deal, because if you get it dropped, then that doesn't affect your driver's license in the same way.
Okay.
You have driver's license suspensions based on operating while intoxicated, and they get more harsh with each individual operating while intoxicated. So that's a big deal. Then additionally, the penalties regarding jail time as well as community service, all of those increase in harshness. Then when I came in, and the other thing was, it was a revolving door. You would walk in the jail, you have an 8-hour burn-off period, make sure the alcohol's out of your system, and it was a revolving door, you walk right back out.
Just right back out the next day.
And that was a huge problem for me. So we instituted a practice, got with a prosecutor, and got the prosecutor to now no longer plead down any OWI up front. And now every single one of the OWIs coming in on the arrest, every single one of them has to post a bond. They don't just get out. They don't have a burn-off period. They have to see a judge. And which that gives us time, because a lot of times when somebody's arrested on OWI, you can't tell if they have a prior. You just see a name on a sheet of paper and can't tell. So if they have to come in front of me, that gives me an opportunity and the state an opportunity to look at their history. And you wouldn't believe how many people come in that you don't think they have any priors, but next thing you know, you look and like, oh shoot, this person's on probation for an OWI. Or they have one that they just pled to last month.
And prior, this could have been totally missed.
Absolutely.
It was being totally
missed. It was being totally missed.
So the first step was actually tightening up the process for like the immediate process upon OWI.
Absolutely.
Okay. Then what comes next?
So if you have a prior OWI within 7 years, you have to have a felony OWI to qualify for impact court. We identify those people as what we call high risk, high need. So an individual statistics show a first-time OWI, you have about a 35% chance of recidivism, which means you have about a 35% chance of going out and getting another OWI. So less than 50%, so not necessarily so bad. And studies have shown that most people on a first OWI, they will respond positively to probation. Typically, when you're put on probation, assessments are done, And if there is some type of programming you need for alcohol or drug abuse or some type of impaired driving course, you can get that programming through regular probation. But if you have more of a habitual issue with drinking and driving, if you are on your second OWI, that jumps up to about a 56% chance you're going to get a third.
Wow.
If you're on a third, that jumps up to about an 86% chance, so you're going to get a fourth. So that's the population that 2 and above we want to target.
Okay.
Now, again, if you have a traditional plea agreement that puts you on probation, you're going to go see a probation officer. They're going to do assessment. They're going to put you in a program. You're going to see a probation officer once a month. You may get drug screened once a month, once every other month. Well, if you go into impact court, you're going to get a sentence of at least 540 to 720 days over your head. It's going to be put on probation.
Okay.
So you're still going to be probation.
Yeah.
No different. Now, the previous offer was probably going to be 365 days put on probation. So impact court, though, you're going to probably double that or time and a half that to probation.
Wow.
You're going to be in court maybe weekly, definitely biweekly. You're going to see a case manager every week. You're going to be screened randomly anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week to 4 times a day. Wow. If we put you on, if you're high risk, we're going to have an alcohol monitor that you have to blow into 4 times a day.
Wow. Okay.
You also are going to have to do possibly inpatient treatments depending on your needs. We have assessments also.
Yeah.
Have to do possibly inpatient treatment. And if you're that high risk, you're going to do inpatient treatment. Yeah. And then you're going to have to do that step down with partial hospitalization, intensive outpatient. You're going to have to live in a sober living environment where you're going to be drug tested there also. Okay. You're going to have to obviously maintain that sobriety. You're then additionally going to have to do some type of sobriety group, some type of other programming. We have like some behavioral health type programs, moral recognition. There are all kinds of different programs depending on your life experiences. We find a lot of things are trauma-based. You may be from an abusive relationship, and that's what's causing you to drink. You may be going through a traumatic divorce, and that's what's causing you to drink. You may have had, some kind of traumatic event as a child. You may have a mental health disorder. So depending on what may be the triggering factors, you're going to have to address those issues, underlying issues. Yeah.
So let me ask you, when the rubber hits the road, this strategy, have you seen it be successful?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, and it's amazing.
Really?
It's absolutely amazing.
Tell me about it.
So, it's you have these adults that come in and they don't think they need you. They don't think they need the help. They're closed. Yeah. They think they're fine. They think they can do it on their own, and so they just fight you the whole way. Some of them are like, yeah, I know I need this. I need to make that change, and they can do it. But for the most part, most people just think they don't need you. Yeah. So sometimes it takes a few times. They might fail a screen or two, and they might end up back in jail. But a lot of times, when they're sitting in jail, and I tell them, well, you're going to inpatient, and they tell me they don't want to go. I said, well, you're going to inpatient, or you're going to stay in jail. They a lot of times will do the inpatient, and that day 30 or 28, whatever it is, before they're released, a lot of times you can see that little shift in their brain. And we have that conversation, and they're like, I get it. I see. There's so much, that I just was missing. So they're willing now to at least accept what we're trying to do. Yeah. They're willing to accept that, hey, I know I need this trauma-informed mental health care or treatment. I know I need to see a therapist. Yeah. I know I need more intensive substance abuse treatment. I know I need to be part of this group. I know I need to be part of this recovery community. I know I need to lean on my supports. I know I need to be held accountable with these drug screens or alcohol screens. And I know I need to repair my family. And that's my favorite. Okay. When they repair that family, that happens all the time. We just had a graduation where one of the participants, a mother, she was the one that fought us, and she had her, I think, 3 daughters there. She had lost her kids. They were teenage girls. She had lost them. She had gotten them back because of our program. And so totally repaired that family relationship. Those daughters sat in that jury box right in front. And I mean, you could see how proud they were. And her father was there too. And he couldn't believe it.
Wow.
You know, they're all just like, you gave us my mom back, you know? You gave us my daughter back. So it's, I mean, it gives me chills now just thinking about it. You know?
Because now they go out and live in our community, and you know they can also spread that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, she wasn't working when she came into the program. She wasn't working at all. Yeah. And now she's working. She's happy. Her daughters are happy.
That's fantastic.
Her father's happy. Yeah.
Wow. All thanks to the Impact Court. Yeah. Okay. And you brought this to Clark County, to your circuit court.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we were only the second.
Okay.
OWI court in the state of Indiana. The first one was in Allen County, so northern Indiana, and we started, we went through the process to apply down here, which is a great area because, you know, we're right by Louisville and I-65.
Yes.
You know, I-65, that corridor is a gateway to the whole state. So
that's true.
It's a good spot.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm sure having brought that here, having implemented that, having been so successful, I'm sure there's many accolades and observations of your expertise. Have you garnered any recognition for that, or statewide?
Well, yeah.
Tell me about what opportunities that's opened up for you.
I am on the Indiana State Judicial Committees.
Okay.
I am on the Problem Solving Court Board. So, and we just revamped the Problem Solving Court rules. So I was a part of the state of Indiana's Problem Solving Court rules realignment. And then additionally, I'm also on the Indiana State Committee, Judicial Committee for the Judicial Education, which devises all of the judicial education programs that we do every year. And I have also been asked to present on OWIs for some of the actual education programs. So I have been able to give back to the different judges throughout the state and teach them about OWIs. Yeah. Well, and so that's been a real big honor.
That is the path of success. You know, you have the education, the years of practicing, and then you have the implementation of those ideas. Success practically for yourself, and then also then you can go teach that to other people and be a part of that being implemented across the state.
Yeah, and to be recognized by your peers and you know, even those above you. Yeah. You know, Chief Justice Rush, I love her to death, and I just actually was chosen for the Indiana Judicial Graduate Program also, which blew me away as one of only 29 judges in the state that was chosen, and Chief Justice just sent me a really nice email thanking me for all the great work that I'm doing down here in Southern Indiana. So I really appreciate it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, she's a rock star. Chief Justice Rush is amazing.
I believe it. Do you think, are we going to see problem-solving courts and impact courts across the state more implemented?
There's another OWI court that is seeking certification at this moment. I think we'll see more. I think we may be up to about 150 problem-solving courts now statewide. There are different types of problem-solving courts.
Understood.
Yeah. So, they are becoming more normal, I guess, than they had previously been.
I bet
very
that's
effective. They work.
Largely due to seeing how effective it is here. Okay. So you've had all this experience. You've had 6 years of experience in this specific role as judge. Talk to me, as we wrap things up. Talk to me about the next 6 years. Talk to me about what you're hoping to do and how excited you are for your next term, if elected in November.
Sure. I hit on it briefly. Mental health is my next one. As I said, we've got that recovery community. Yeah. The substance abuse, we're pretty good at that now. And we're helping a lot of people.
It sounds like it. It definitely sounds like it.
So I want to carry that over to the mental health side. Okay. As I said, 14th largest county, but we are the third
Yeah.
largest in the state of Indiana for the incompetent individuals. We are taking over the state hospitals in the state of Indiana for the criminally involved incompetent individuals. State hospitals weren't meant for the criminally involved.
Yeah.
They were meant for civil commitments, which is Judge Craft's court.
Okay.
But we need to change that. And so I was chosen to be on a board with the Indiana Department of Mental Health and Addiction
Okay.
to participate in a policy academy with SAMHSA, which is federal level. And so we are now making new policy for the state of Indiana to kind of close some of those gaps that I mentioned earlier so that we can provide better services for our mental health providers and try to divert those criminally involved in the criminal justice system, to divert them out of the state mental hospitals and get better programming at our local level, get better resources at the local level, and help that community kind of like we have done for our recovered communities. So I'm really excited for that. So that's coming over the next year.
Okay.
We'll have new policy for that. And then additionally, I am also participating in a local program for an assisted outpatient treatment program with the Clark Floyd System of Care, which is an amazing group.
Yeah.
Anybody out there that has any type of need for social services, whether it need be housing, food, help with medical, mental health, where our local community-based health provider maybe can't help you, call Clark Floyd System of Care. They're amazing people. They're kind of like that middleman, and they can connect you with so many places. But yes, we're working on an assisted outpatient treatment program. I'm working with LifeSpring also on a more program pretrial in the jail to help divert some of these individuals that probably shouldn't be in jail, but maybe need some services before we can let them out in the community.
Yeah.
So got a lot of really good things going on for the mental health coming our way over this next year.
Yeah.
And then additionally, I really want to start looking at the domestic violence cases. I would like to take a serious look at those. There's too much domestic violence going on, and those are scary. Those are scary.
When voters are going into the polls come November, when they go to cast their ballots, when they look at this race, what do you want them to understand? What do you want them to think about the experience and the heart that you bring into this job? Say a word to the voters.
Well, for me, I've been doing this since 2003. I haven't been a judge since 2003, but I've been dealing with the same population since 2003. I know these people. I know when someone's coming before me and they are lying flat to my face. I've had the individual come to me and I put him in prison for 12 years. I've had an individual come to me when, it's just a hard situation and they need help.
Yeah.
I can pretty well tell the difference. I'm not afraid to, when accountability is needed, I'm not afraid to hold that person accountable. I think there's a balance there. And I think that an individual definitely needs to be responsible for their actions. And I'm not afraid of that. My favorite quote is, it's Socrates. It's actually, I think, from one of Plato's plays. And this goes back to, the 399 BC, 400 BC. And it's a judge's job is to hear courteously, to answer wisely, to consider soberly, and to decide impartially. And that's kind of what I live by.
Yeah.
And I think that is the true role of a judge. And I think I try to do that every single day. My goal is to protect the community, to try to make victims as whole as I can, hold those accountable, but also try for those that we can help and that we can see through recovery, and that we'll have something to offer back to the community.
Yeah.
If we can provide that, I think we should.
Well, that's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Judge Lisa Glickfield for re-election, Clark County Circuit Court 3.
All right.
Judge Glickfield, thank you for coming up.
Thank you, Gavin, so much. Appreciate it.